Hello friends, today's video is not on jewelry manufacturing, but it is what I feel is an important discussion and key to having a really strong and successful relationship with your supplier, your customers, and within your own workplace. Even if you're a jewelry designer, self-employed, or run a larger team, improving your workplace culture through kindness can pay off. I'm going to be sharing examples with you based on my experiences with working with different customers over the years and explain to you why it pays to be kind. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm Kim, owner of Tide Design Distributors. We're a third generation family business since 1975, owning our manufacturing plant in Thailand, specializing in producing high-end sterling silver and gold jewelry. We've got our own in-house range, but the majority of what we do is manufacturing exclusively for our jewelry designer customers. We've always had our headquarters in London and recently a support office in the US. Please do get familiar with this channel by watching my intro video, which explains and gives you a better insight about my background in the jewelry industry and the purpose of this channel. Lastly, please don't forget to like or subscribe to the channel for all of the latest tips and videos on jewelry manufacturing. Why is kindness so important? I think, in all honesty, a lot of people don't realize that starting or acting a kindness movement is key to creating and building a trusting and long-term business relationship. And to some degree, people don't think about the act of kindness when they think about work. So look, I've heard it hundreds of times. A customer wants to collaborate with us and they clearly express their expectations going forward. From a supplier or a manufacturer's standpoint, our objective is, of course, to meet those expectations in order to provide a satisfactory experience or service to the customer. So things like clear communication, the confidentiality, exclusivity, and trust of their designs, constant updates on their samples or production order, etc. are just a few focal aspects that we aim or pride ourselves with on. But I think some people don't realize that we, as a supplier or manufacturer, also have an expectation on how we would like the customer to act or behave, in order for us to turn around and say, that we had a really satisfactory experience working with that person. And I really think that if customers realize this, then it will bring the overall experience with working together for all parties to another level. There needs to be a balance. You can be kind yet firm, all done in a professional manner. Some customers we've dealt with are, of this mindset that it has to be a win-lose situation when actually it doesn't need to be, and it isn't in fact beneficial for the customer. It's fine to be firm, especially when you feel you have a justification or reason behind your point. Let's say you're challenging a price quotation, for example. But there's a degree to how much you want to challenge. Hard negotiation for every single price just becomes a nuisance to the supplier. And that's the impression that you're creating as a customer to them. So when suppliers like myself have weekly meetings and we talk about all the various customer accounts, we'll have these associations about certain customers, and a lot of those impressions are based on their attitude and how they practice their behavior towards us. If you are in the jewelry trade, you'll probably or hopefully will have noticed that it is a very special and a different industry. As I explained in a different video, it's changed over the years. For me, it's not what it was 19 years ago, when I really fully got involved in the family business. It's evolved to where it's about branded jewelry and the jewelry designer working directly with their supplier or manufacturer to produce their jewelry for them. For us as a manufacturer, and I'm sure which applies to other manufacturers, it's about sharing the belief of a customer's brand in their concepts and an enjoyment and sense of purpose working with them and seeing their brand grow over the years. It isn't just about strong communication, the updates or the production of their designs, but also about personal attribution. And this is what I mean about development and creating this kindness movement as being key to building a trusting and long-term business relationship. If my business is based on sales and expanding with new jewelry designer customers, then sales is all about people and being personable. An example is, let's say you have a technical issue with your phone and you call your phone provider to get that issue fixed. If you get bad customer service and they can't help you fix a problem, which is the reason why you're calling them, then fair enough, I can see why you might express frustration and complain. But that's not the business that I'm in, nor are our customers. It's not a one-time call or transaction, but about developing your jewelry brand and growing together long-term. Because at the end of the day, we understand that for the customer, it's more than just a brand, and for many, it's their bread and butter and sole stream of income. I feel that over the years, we've met customers who have positioned themselves in a way to say that we need their business. for some reason, and that they feel that they have a right to be demanding and that we should succumb to all their requests and expectations. Well, that's certainly not the case. And I think customers don't realize that even though we might not come out and say it, not only do we have the right, but we actually do choose the customers that we want to work with. Why should a jewelry designer have the choice to work with a list of potential customers and not vice versa? Now, things aren't always what they seem at first glance. So in some cases, it's only after we've started working with the customer and there's a commitment already in place that we start noticing, at some point during the work relationship that they start reacting on a more aggressive side and at times acting as if we're intentionally wanting to hurt their business, which, as you can imagine, is crazy. My point is, there should also be a mutual benefit for both parties working together, and it should become an enjoyable and a learning experience for everyone, even when it doesn't relate to the customer's order. So for example, one of our customers a few years ago suggested us to try out a different courier service which they were currently using, and therefore recommended them to us because of their positive experience. And they told us about it because they thought it could benefit us, and in fact, switching the couriers really did help us and saved a lot of money almost immediately. Even within your workforce, I think even for me, it's somewhat easy to forget how important it is to improve our workplace culture through kindness, and for businesses to recognize that it's just as important to company culture as communication or collaboration. In my situation, I have a far larger workforce in Thailand than the team in London. So not only is there responsibility for those teams and our employees, but a fair amount of time is also spent on communicating and helping our customers. The fact that we're a close-knit team is probably even more essential to show employees that management cares and that, in effect, hopefully that motivates them during their time at work. I think this approach stems from the company being family-owned and run, but like I say, it's not just what comes from management, but also what comes from our customers too. I think in some ways, because society has allowed us to focus on our individualism, there just seems to be a lot of scope for negativity and suspicion, and that it feels that we're constantly defending or fighting for ourselves. And that doesn't need to happen even in a business environment. If we're able to treat each other with sympathy and compassion and start this kindness movement, then energy will come from you as a customer, it will get noticed, and it will stand out to us, and effectively will have a positive impact. We work with a lot of customers, and there are a good handful of them that I can say hand on heart are the nicest people I would ever meet. Some of them started off really small and have grown to be one of our largest customers with regular and repeat orders, and I can see how over the years they've been rewarded with success. And I mean success not just in profit but in purpose, which if anything holds more value. So I do really believe that this is largely attributed to them just having a really kind and humble attitude. Whether it's our work staff or our customers, they are also more likely to want to stay with the business if they're treated with kindness because they feel respected and appreciated as a result. So here's a little summary for you guys. Take this in and remember guys, a little goes a long way. If you are requesting or needing help with anything, I know it sounds really obvious, but please be polite and say your please and thank yous. If I got 2 emails from new 2 customers, for example, and I saw one was more polite than the other, it's clear which one I'll reply to first. Don't try to negotiate just for the sake of it. Try to understand the situation. So one example is when we or your supplier provides you with a new price, to make your jewelry. Now let's say you have no or little experience with jewelry manufacturing, and you've designed a jewelry piece and wanted a quote, and you already had a set price or budget in mind. Try to understand why the price is what it is from your supplier instead of trying to pull off some hard negotiation on it. For example, I quote a price of £6 for, let's say, a plain sterling silver simple pendant, and it's based on the weight of 5 grams. The price could largely be due to the weight of it being 5 grams, but let's say you had in mind a magical number of it being £3. It's going to be impossible to reduce the price by almost half and still weighing 5 grams. If you have a budget of £3, well, let's instead look at another option where I could say, okay, if it's possible to bring the weight down to say 2.5 grams, then the reduction of the price to around £3 would be a lot more achievable. We need to explore the options available. I certainly don't like bartering, but I've had some cases where customers feel that it's just a natural thing to do when really it's not. Help and find a solution with your supplier when things are beyond either party's control. As an example, let's say the FedEx parcel is delayed at customs through no one's fault. Or another example is if we or your manufacturer is outsourcing, say, semi-precious stones for you, and we inform you after a few months that the stone supplier has increased their prices, which our factory has to forfeit and pay on behalf of the customer. Let's work out a solution. So In the case of the parcel being held up at customs and, let's say you need the goods really urgently, then one solution is that when we receive the goods and do all the necessary QC, etc., is to send the goods to the customer by a deadline, which is the same day delivery. So that would have saved a few days. In the instance of the increase in stone prices, we could look into changing the stone supplier to a more affordable one, get some samples, make sure that everyone's happy before finalizing the switch. My point is there are solutions to almost all the problems that we encounter, and it's far better than complaining just for the sake of it. I mean, it is totally fine to express any concerns you have, but it needs to be done in a professional manner. Having a go at someone isn't only ineffective, but merely damages the relationship between client and supplier. Finally, pay a compliment. Our team loves it when we get a nice note from our customers saying that they've just received the sample or the order that they recently placed and they love the quality and everything about the jewellery. That's positive feedback that is relayed back to our production team, which they then share between them and direct the positive feedback to the people who made those jewellery pieces. Short and simple, kind words can effectively impact and boost everyone's confidence and motivation. Similarly, negative words will also have an impact and can stay with the person, for a longer duration and can be harder to forget. When I know I have a caring customer who respects a working relationship that we have and appreciates not just the jewellery that we manufacture for them and the workers who made those pieces, but also expresses their gratitude and thanks, it makes a world of difference. We remember that, and it only encourages us to make the customer even more happy in the future. Trust me on that. Lastly, remember that being kind to others stimulates serotonin and oxytocin, all these hormones associated with happiness. So you're not only doing yourself a favor by reducing your stress, but it encourages you to enjoy the work that you do and to the people you work with. All right, friends, that's it. Really hope you can take that in, apply it, and that it's super helpful to you. Any comments, questions on anything else or topics you'd like me to discuss, do of course drop it into the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.